What is up, everybody? Good morning. Good morning. It's the Morning Vibe. My name is Dr. Vibe, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations 2020, Best Podcast News Award winner, 2018 Innovation Award given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. Also, I host the only online show in the world for dads and fathers that is co-sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care, and also co-sponsored by DAD, Central Canada's National Fatherhood Organization. And being part of that team last year, was able to reach out directly or indirectly to over 100,000 fathers around the world. As always, I'd like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. Good morning, Ryan Knight.
Good day, good day. Always good to see you, Dr. Vibe. And for those that do not know who Ryan Knight is, I'm one of the co-founders of the Afro-Caribbean Business Network. We're an organization that works with entrepreneurs of African and Caribbean heritage, really to figure out what stage their business is in and then help them create a strategy and a blueprint to grow their companies exponentially. I'm an entrepreneur myself. I run a company called Detailing Nights. So we provide mobile waterless car cleaning. So we go to your house or your office, clean your car on the spot without using water, and our plant-based, eco-friendly cleaning supplies. And shout out to our young entrepreneurs that are working with us this summer. They are getting into the meat of being able to go talk to potential clients, turn them into clients, actually clean their cars and deliver the service, and then they're getting glowing reviews. So typically it takes some time to get the quality up, but the clients have been sharing their feedback and they're super impressed with our current crop. So yeah, glad to be here as always, and quickly got my PACU shirt on as I'm repping the Pan-African Credit Union that is in process of becoming live. So if you want to support a Black-owned, Black-run, for the Black community financial institution, definitely send or visit pacu.ca, pacu.ca, and show your support by investing and becoming a part owner.
Excellent. And just want to make sure everyone's aware that this episode of The Morning Vibe is sponsored by the Macmillan Group, providing mortgage solutions one client at a time since 1999. Buying, refinancing, or investing, call them at 905-813-4354 in Canada and 904-586-5636 in the US, or visit them at the McMillanGroupInc.com. That's right. They do mortgages in Canada and the United States. So wherever you're watching in North America, you can touch them, you can reach them. So Ryan, what's been going on? How was the weekend?
The weekend was truly blessed. On Saturday, we had the business
Oshawa.
network in Oshawa. Yeah. So thanks to Jamal from Empro Graphics and Sandra, his mom, that they work on pop-up shops together. We were able to put together, and it's an event that they've been doing for years. And I guess it was on pause, and we were able to bring it back to bring entrepreneurs together, have us networking, and then learning from expert service providers about how to access funding, the different types of funding, how to really have good customer service and what that looks like, how to take time for yourself and really plan out your day. And Asha from the Black Queens of Durham did that presentation, and then about operations and how to start and make sure your business is viable with Chris Beth Cowie from Empowered for X. Full house. So looking forward to the next. We're going to try and do it once a month and hopefully move it around. So the next one might be in Hamilton or Brampton, but then another one will be in Oshawa again.
Excellent. Good stuff. Good stuff.
How was your weekend, brother?
Well, on Saturday, every year we do a family and friends picnic, and we go to Kelso Conservation Area in Milton. And it was a nice day. Thank goodness for shade, because it was hot. So we were underneath a good amount of shade. And there must have been about 75 people. It was a really nice event. Took my dad with me. He really enjoyed it. Met some interesting people, and actually have I don't know if the gentleman's going to be a guest on the Morning Vibe or Black Canada Talking, but if anyone watches a show called MasterChef Canada, a few seasons ago, there was a Black gentleman named Andre that was on there, and I saw him. I'm going, because the lady who was holding the event is my cousin, and she knows him. And I was like, for the longest period of time, going, what? And this is not like me most of the time. I usually just go up and go to people.
Yes.
He was there with his family, this and that. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to shoot my shot. So we went up there, chatted for about 15, 20 minutes. I said, and then someone said, hey, you should get on Dr. Vibe's show. He does. So someone did the promo for me. So they did the work for me. So I'm going to be reaching out for Tim today. But he competed on 2 seasons of MasterChef Canada, and he was sharing about the process that they go through on the show. And I said, hey, would you like to come on? He says, yeah, just send me a message. So I'm going to be sending him a video message today, folks. Send no video messages. They're much more effective. And we're going to make that happen. Yesterday, just took it easy because Saturday was a full day of work. Renting a van, packing a van, driving to the Kelso Conservation Area in Milton. It was beautiful. But coming back home, unloading the van. So yesterday was just a little bit catch-up day. But it was a good weekend. And I think other than one other really major event I have for the rest of the summer, which is a wedding, I think that's going to be for major events of the summer. Done.
Right. And shout out to the kiddos that were at Kitty Caravana or Kitty Carnival.
Yeah.
And like you were saying, it was hot. A couple of my cousins and nieces went, and then we saw them later in the afternoon, and they look cooked. So I hope that they got plenty of water and everybody there was staying hydrated, because Saturday was just like that heavy heat.
Yeah, the humidity really hit, and it was really crazy. But and today is not a detailing nights day though, because it's humid, but it's raining. So
it looks like
it's supposed to get a lot of humidity going on this week. So please, if you're not a fan of the heat, drinks a lot of water. If you can stay inside air conditioning, please do that, because it's supposed to be a very hot, hazy, humid week in Toronto.
Right.
So and also yesterday I had Richard Miller on Black Canada Talking, going a deep dive in the way a number of Black prisoners are being treated in the prison environment in Toronto. So that was another great conversation. But you know what? We have a new friend on today.
Yes,
and I've heard about this wonderful lady for many years, but I've never chance to meet her physically, but at least getting closer digitally. Who do we have up today?
So director extraordinaire Sharon Lewis, and quick shout out to Sasha that was able to put it together. I believe she does PR, and said,
yes, she does. She's been doing it for a long time.
Yeah, and do you know of Sharon Lewis? I unfortunately did not, and she said, well, you should have her on the show, because this is an award-winning director in the Black community that has been doing it for years. I think over 25 years or close to 20 plus years, and she does have a project coming up. And more than just being a director, she's been behind the scenes or in front of the camera, behind the camera, and really it's selfishly me just wanting to learn more about her history and what she's been doing over these years and what is coming up. So Sharon Lewis is with us today.
And you know what? I'm gonna give a proper introduction to Sharon. She's smiling now because she goes,
the prop. So
the prop. So we're going to be talking about her latest project, With Wonder. And With Wonder was born out of Sharon's own muted struggle with not fitting into the neat racial, queer, Christian boxes. This captivating documentary, which won Audience Choice Award at the Real World Film Festival in 2021, is the latest in a long list of her creative work in the Black, women of color, and queer communities. Her work has been recognized with 6 Canadian Screen Awards nominations, and she is the recent winner of the Canadian Screen Award for Best Director for a factual series. Big up. Congratulations. She's smiling in the background. Very nice. And she continues to blaze trails in both descriptive, scripted, and unscripted storytelling. So that's a better introduction for this lady. Hello.
You always got the official.
What's going on?
Wow, thank you for that big up.
Well, you deserve it. Absolutely.
Big up. Very nice.
We got to make sure you're shooting your shot, young lady.
Oh, and young lady, I'll take that too. Thank you. All of that on a Monday.
You and I don't know if Ryan would know. There's a song called "Age Ain't Nothing But a Number." How we doing this morning?
Really beautiful, and it was so good to hear about what all you guys are doing. Like, really, first of all, Paku, that sounds fantastic. Because if we aren't banking in our own community, we are not funding ourselves. So I love that.
You know what?
Really
that's a great tagline right there.
I like that a lot.
If we're not banking in our own community, we are not funding. I love it.
It's true.
All right. Man, do you have a marketing? You must have a marketing hat going on too.
Listen, to survive as an artist in this film and TV industry, you have to know how to market yourself. But I also have a fantastic media relations manager, Sharon Lewis. So I want to shout out to her because she works for my company and she's been doing an amazing job. And Sasha for bringing me here.
Absolutely. Let's. If I want to see if we can do this, so let's find out a little bit more about you, your journey, and then we can get to the film because I've known about you for years.
Wow.
Yes. No.
All good things, right?
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. And something tells me that we've probably been in the same environments a lot of times, but we've never said hello to each other.
Probably. Truth. Yeah. It's a small community when you really come down to it, right?
Yeah, because I'm probably saying that you've probably been to some TIFFs.
Yeah.
You know, and I say, and I go, but so we have to meet face to face some way, somehow.
Yes, agreed. Now, I don't know if, Ryan, you might be too young, but I used to host a show called Zed.
Yes.
In the day. And,
yes.
Zed.
Ryan's like, what is Zed?
So, I always, listen, when my guests come on, I always have my pen ready.
Yes, I love it. Yeah. So back in the day in 2000, this before I was married and had my son, this was 2003. There was, even before that, in 2001, I was the first Black woman to host a national primetime talk show. So it was on CBC and it was called Counterspin.
Oh, yes. I remember. Yes. There we go.
And Counterspin was sort of like Crossfire. It was live and you had a live audience and we were talking about political issues. So I got hired to do that show and we were 3 episodes in and 9/11 happened. And so I got a call from my producer in the morning. I was studying, I was getting ready. We were going to do a public policy episode. And he said, turn on the TV. And I said, I can't, you know, I'm getting ready for today. And he's like, turn on the TV. And I turned on the TV in time to see the second plane go into the tower.
Wow.
And he was like, the show is canceled for today. We will be going live tomorrow. It was 5 days a week live.
Yep.
And so he's like, we'll be going live tomorrow. So we all got into the office and that's what I did for a year. We had a year-long show on CBC about 9/11 because it changed our world, right? It changed our life. And everybody who can remember that time knows exactly where they were when they first heard about that, right? So it was history in the making. It was the highest rated show on CBC, Counterspin. And I think partly because, because we really dove into the the politics and the hate of what was going on. And here's the weird thing. So as you see, my name is Sharon Lewis. And the person who hosted it before was Avi Lewis. And Avi Lewis is Lewis's son and Michelle Landsberg's son. So they are sort of, the sort of royalty of leftist liberal politics.
Yes.
And so I would get letters all the time. Now, this is what I look like. And all you have to do is Google Avi Lewis. You don't look alike.
No.
Not even one little bit. So they would, oh, are you related to Avi Lewis? Is that how you got the job? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, it's so hard to believe that somebody who looks like me got the job based on my merit as opposed to being related to Avi Lewis. It was such an interesting thing because it really felt like mostly white audiences could not understand how somebody who looked like me could be hosting a national talk show because I was the first. I was the first.
Wow.
Yeah.
But this has already become an interesting conversation. Right? We may need a part 2 from you already. But some people say Maine Campbell is saying good morning, royalty.
Oh,
wow.
Good morning. Oh.
And Marlon says McLean Graves was part of the Zed show from the West Coast.
Not only was he part of it, he created it. And he's passed away now. But he was a brother with a vision. He came with a vision. And when I was doing Counterspin, I had done it for a year and I really didn't feel like I could do it anymore. McLean actually came and he was like, hey, listen, I'm putting together this web TV show for CBC. And back then, 2002, we were like, web? Who's watching?
Yes.
Now look at us, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And he came and he put that together. And he was the first Black executive producer at CBC. He was a brother with a vision. And unfortunately, he's left us. But he created that.
Wow.
And I'm so curious. I don't know if there's a comment, Dr. Vibe, but previous to you now becoming the first Black woman host on CBC, what was the journey getting you into media and being in front of the camera? Exactly. I'm curious how that initially got started.
Well, I started doing activist theater. I was working for a theater company where we sort of did street theater, and we were working a lot with homeless, with young Black teens, with AIDS, a lot of AIDS activism, because this was in the 90s. And I met this woman, Ramabai Espinet, who's a Trini, and she was like, I'm putting on this play and I need somebody to be in this play. And I was like, no. I'm an activist. I studied political science. She's like, please, anyway, she convinced me. We did this play at a community center in Scarborough. And I wish I could say I was moved by the art, but I'm going to tell you the truth. I was moved by that. Oh, you're amazing. You're so good. Oh, thank you. So I was like, oh, this feels nice to be up on stage and, people clapping and all of that. And so I moved into acting, but you can't take the activist out of the artist. Once you're woke, you can't be unwoke. Mm-hmm. And so the art and the activism kept sort of not getting fulfilled because I started doing auditions for commercials and, I was the star of the first above the line Black film. It's called Rude. And it went to Cannes and it went to the Cannes Film Festival and Clement Virgo. I hope you guys know who Clement Virgo is. And if you don't,
absolutely.
So Clement directed Rude and I played Rude. And I was like, oh, this is amazing. I woke up, I was in Cannes, I was coming out of, a limousine. We were, there. And I was like, acting's great. And then literally after that, I couldn't get work. And so I had this beautiful, fulfilling experience working with an all Black producer, director, all Black cast, telling a really important story, going to Cannes, getting all this recognition. And then all I could get was auditions for sitcoms and, and I went to LA and it was like, well, what have you done? Are you funny? Can you be a little bit more urban? Which we all know is code for what?
Right. Jeez.
And I was like,
yes,
but I'd really love to tell those stories. So I slowly started to transition behind the camera so that I could start to write those stories and tell those stories. And so I wrote a play called Sisters with Maxine Bailey, who is now
Yes.
the first Black executive director of the Canadian Film Center.
Yeah.
She's Cameron Bailey's sister. Cameron was at TIFF. So we were
Yeah.
all coming up together, and we did this play called Sisters. And it was the first time that there was a Black play with queer content in it. And it was sold out. There were lineups around the block, and our people came. So when they say the Black community is homophobic, I'm like, well, all communities are dealing with that. All communities are struggling with that. It's not just in particular the Black community. But our people came out. They came out in droves to support our play Sisters. And so that's how I started directing. I just started moving behind the camera because I wanted to have more control over the stories that we tell.
How important is controlling our narrative to you?
It's everything, right? It's everything, because our children and the next generation coming up only know who we are by what they see. Because I look at my son, and he's born here, so his connection to the Caribbean is tenuous. You know, it's getting more and more tenuous. So if I don't present that to him in a positive and in a full way, he won't know who he is. We know who we are by who people tell us who we are, right? By our history, which is also why slave narratives, I know there is a place for films about slavery, but if that's all we ever see, then we grow up to think that's all we are. You know, and it's always through a white lens. It's like, oh, they were oppressed. Oh, they were beaten. Yes, we were, but we also rebelled. We fought back. We were doctors. We were professors, all during slavery. We were all of that.
Yes.
But if film and TV is only showing you one version of ourselves, which is that we were oppressed and that we listened to the white slave master and all of that, that happened. But let me tell you, we were revolutionaries. We were rebelling all the way along, and that story doesn't get told by Hollywood.
And there's a big history before all that happened that doesn't truly get told. So,
yes. Yes.
Sharon, before we go any further, this is one of the reasons why we do this. Your vibe is great. And I'm already saying you got to come back. I'm already putting that. I'm already putting the request out there, because just your passion and your journey is so valuable to so many of us.
Same for you guys. That's
yeah, but no. We're on to it. No, we're talking about you now. No, don't push it off now. We're giving you big ups. We're amplifying everything you have done, are done, and will be doing. So thank you for you. And I know there are times where it is hard, tough, but thank you for not quitting.
Well, I didn't want to cry on a Monday morning.
So no, whatever. No, but thank you for not.
That. I also appreciate you acknowledging how tough it is, because I think when people see you, especially when I was doing Counterspin and they saw me on camera, they would write like, why don't you do this story? Why don't you do that story? Why don't you do this story? And the lack of control that you have when you're a host or when you're in front of the camera and it's not your own show is huge. And I'm going to tell a really quick story.
Take your time.
We were doing an episode, so we did a lot around 9/11, and I really fought to do some Black content. And you have to understand, these are all white producers. I am the only woman of color, except for another Black woman who was from Africa and was an intern. So there's two of us. And I've got supposedly all this power as a host, and she's an intern. So I fought to do a story. There was a book that came out on the N-word, and it was from a professor in the United States. And so the way that it works in news is that, you have a pitch room, everybody pitches a story, and then, the producer decides what stories are going to happen.
Yep.
I pushed and pushed and pushed, and this producer finally accepted this story. And then normally they would write my opening monologue, just like you see on, a late night talk show. But I said, I'm a writer, I'm a published writer. At that point, I had, had a book published of essays. And I said, I would like to write it on the N-word. I think I might have more to say about it than, you, this white producer. And he said, and I quote, "I know more about the African Caribbean experience than you would ever know. I wrote a book on it."
He said that to you?
He said that to me. The white producer said that to me. So I sat there and I thought, okay, I mean, what do I do? What can I do? Do I quit? What do I do? So he wrote my monologue on what it is to, on the N word and my experience with the N word. He wrote my opening monologue. So it's the night of the show. And usually, you know, we run over from our little studio over to CBC, and, you know, the teleprompter, they put the monologue on the teleprompter. So there was a producer, her name is Barb Harmer. And I looked at her and I was like, I can't do this. Like this, what he's written, it's, you know, and I'm going to cry when I tell this story. She took my monologue and she put it in the teleprompter. She risked losing her job to do that for me. She put it in the teleprompter. So you have a little earwig, right? And the producer from the top is in my ear. And so it comes up and I start doing my monologue and he is screaming in my ear.
Holy
We're live, right?
Yes.
And I'm like, da 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 da. Scream, 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 scream. We go right to our first guest and then we cut to commercial. And he comes down from the booth, comes onto the studio, and he is screaming at me. And we're back. 3, 2, 1. And we did the show. At the end of the show, I was like, well, that's it. My career done. You know, it's over. I start to walk out of the studio. He comes by and he's like, you know, if you ever do that again, blah, blah, blah. And he walked away. That was it. He couldn't, I realized then he couldn't fire me because the show was doing so well. Yes. And he couldn't go to the CBC execs and go, actually, what we did was we made her do the monologue about, you know, he couldn't. So I called him out on that, but I couldn't have done that without that ally. And allies are so important.
Yes.
So important. But I say that story because exactly, Dr. Vibe, you acknowledging it's hard. It's hard. You know, we're out there and we're doing our thing, but it's hard.
And thank you just real quick.
Go ahead, Brian.
Allies at any level. I think a lot of times we get drunk on trying to get the CEO of whatever bank or whatever big company to become allies when we need support at all levels. I just wanted to touch on that. Sorry, Go ahead, Dr.
No problem. Just to catch up on some comments, Maine is saying here, in regards to controlling the narrative, it's everything. We must share our authentic stories in our own private and negative light so our youth can be progressive and support needed change. And also saying there are so many muted stories that must be told.
Truth, 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 truth.
Well, I may be asking you out 3 times, but no, that's up. So, you know, we're gonna, yeah. And Marlon's saying, I need this morning. So
that's right,
thank
Marlon.
you. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you so much. We'll parking lot that for a second because we could go all along about that. Let's talk about this film. This wonderful film. So what I'm going to do is see if I can be technically inclined and just show a little clip from it. And then you can give us a little background. So is that fair?
Sure.
All right. Let's see if Dr. Vibe can do it this morning. That's the thing. Okay. Yeah. Here we go. All right. All right. And something should be coming on the screen. Just there we go. And here we go.
Can it enlarge or can it enlarge?
Science and at the first ever LGBT walk.
Oh, that's going to cause some rendering.
And that is going to require some sacrifice.
Jamaica is not really ready yet to accept gay with open arms.
I told them that maybe this is the way that God made me, praying that God will annul your marriage. My mom is so desperate. She was just like, get on your knees and repent, Serena. Get on your knees and repent.
You don't understand why somebody, unless they're white, would be LGBT. So I makes sense. I didn't expect you to ask me that question. And I don't really cry, unless I've broken a nail or something.
We're having some rendering challenges here. So you know what? I'm going to stop it right there because...
We make some noise.
Please, turn me into a real boy.
I have to get this off my chest.
We make all these vows to come to God, to love each other. Love that moment where I felt I was able to connect with God.
How could it be Christ-like that you be suicidal because of something that I have no control over? I still have faith, but just not faith in church.
And when I let go of wanting to be different, I came to know myself, which made me a person of faith in a way that I would have never suspected.
And this was the beginning of my journey to reconcile my faith and my sexuality.
All right. So, sorry for the technical challenges, but we got most of what we wanted to get done.
And I think
so Sharon,
wonder.com, it's wonderfilm.com.
I've got all that ready for the conversation. I'll be showing the links, etc. So we want to make sure. So give us the background of this wonderful production, this wonderful event. Give us the story behind it.
Well, like we were talking about, I do a lot of work for other people. So, for example, I direct Law and Order. I'm going back to New York to do that, organized crime.
Hold on. Oh, no. How are you going to drop this and just move along? It's like, okay, I just do this. I just do okay. Now, I have family that are addicted to that show. It's not love, addicted like that. Addicted to love. They're addicted to that.
Yes.
How? And I've seen your name. See, that's why I've been keeping an eye on you. I know we're talking about with Wonder, just a little parking lot for a second. How did that come about?
Well, I've been directing. So like we were talking about, I moved in front of the behind the camera, and I've been directing my own stuff. But really, I direct it's kind of like my day job. I direct episodic television. So I've directed, Murdoch Mysteries and Hudson and Rex and Transplant, and I'm now I directed Law and Order Organized Crime with Chris Maloney, I think in April. So I have Canadian and American citizenship, and I have American agents, and so they've been trying to push me sort of into American episodics. There's more tools to use in those shows because they're bigger shows, right?
Yeah.
So I got to do a crazy car chase and fight scene and all kinds of like amazing stuff. And I got to work with Chris Maloney and Alex Burstyn, who is an Academy Award.
Okay, just want to stop. How is it working with Chris? I really like him.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah.
Chris is like he's a lot like Stabler. His character.
Okay.
He's like an 800-pound gorilla. So when he comes on the set, he's like when he first met me, he's like, hey. and then I did this because I'm not cool. I was like, I'm gonna hug you right now. And he's like, what? And I'm like, oh, I'm hugging. I'm coming in for the hug. I and hugged him, and he started laughing. Because I think, if I'm the director, so I can't be intimidated. I can't be, oh no, it's Chris Maloney, because I'm gonna have to tell him what to do. So I just went in for the hug, and then we were cool. And then we had another scene. It was Chris Maloney and another actor, and they were kind of growing out. You know what I mean? Like they were like, so I kind of, went in between, and I was like, I want to bro out too. Like, okay, who's this little spunky girl,
Yes. Oh my.
We ended up having fun, and they've invited me back, so I'm going back in September to do another episode.
Oh,
But before I
wonderful.
do that, I'm doing Power. Please tell me y'all watch Power.
what?
Yes. So I'm going back I'm going to go do Power Book 4 with Tommy.
Okay.
Holy.
Yeah.
Like, okay, let's get back to with Wonder, because at this rate we may never get, and Sacha will get upset at us. So let's
But you're making me happy to know that you guys watch those shows because they're a lot of fun.
Like, I'm very humbled.
Aw. Yeah. Well, they're fun.
I'm humbled and touched to see Black success.
Mm.
And that individuals like yourself, there are a lot of people like yourself, and I think to a lesser degree myself and Ryan, it gives them hope to see that we're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
It gives them, they're just looking for that hope that someone's doing it.
Absolutely. That's why when we were talking before, representation is so important, right? We need to see you. We need to see Dr. Vibe and Ryan. We need to see me. We need to see that we can do it.
Yeah, it's just humbling because I've done over 3,000 of these.
Yeah, right.
So when people,
yeah,
so it's but you know what? If there isn't struggle, you don't appreciate the victory.
Mm.
And I know we're kind of veering off what we were going to talk about, but
we'll get back to it.
Yeah, we'll get back. I'm so curious, Sharon, what do you feel like is missing from the film industry, media industry that, let's say, when you were starting out, should have been there that we can now work to get included? Like, should we have our own distribution? Should we have our own studio? Like, what do you feel is missing in the industry?
Yes, all of that. And I'll do this. I'll bring it back to With Wonder. Here's the thing: is it's great that I'm getting hired on these shows. It's great, and I honestly am not just grateful, but having a good time. Like, I get to do my craft on a level that I have not been able to do it on my own. So I'm grateful for that. But whenever I do my own projects, like With Wonder, people go, so, it's queer, it's people of color, it's Christian, like, aren't you worried that the mainstream's not going to see it? And here's my answer. No.
Right.
Because I'm not making it for them.
Right.
It's not an educational documentary. It's not let me explain this culture to you. In the same way, I want to have the privilege as that straight white guy that makes his movies about falling in love in Muskoka with the girl that he met when he was 14.
Yes.
And there's like 100 of those. And he's not being asked, like, well, do you think Sharon is going to relate to that, movie of you falling in love? No, he's not being asked that. So I don't want to be asked that. I want the privilege of a straight white guy making a movie about his girl, his first love in Muskoka. I want that. And I want that for all artists. I want that for all of us telling that story, that we don't have to explain how this is going to relate to everybody, because you all don't have to explain it. Absolutely. And a good story is a good story, one that has love and conflict and triumph and struggle and good acting and good storytelling. I mean, this is a documentary. Will relate to everyone if you take the time. And the other thing I'll say is, there's some patois in the documentary, and we translated it only because the audio was so low, not because I was like, let me translate this. Because do they ever translate British for us? Do they ever translate Irish slang for us?
Right.
Scottish slang? No, they expect us to watch it and kind of figure it out, right?
Right.
So I'm like, you can figure out some patois. Because we do it with your films. We're like constantly like, what did he, and I'm constantly turning to my partner saying, honey, what did he just say? Right. Because it's in some Scottish slang or,
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and just in this comment here, honored to be here, experience this moment. I've just upgraded in value and knowledge. Amen.
Amen.
Love that.
Amen.
So share us the journey of where the idea came for With Wonder. How did the idea and sort of the process to it becoming reality?
Yeah, so I did this documentary on a brother. His name is Daniel Bartholomew Poyser, and he's the first openly gay Black classical music conductor in Canada. And I met him because my feature film, I had a gala at the AGO, and this brother showed up, and he was running around, and he was a friend of a friend, and he was like, "Can I get some tea? Can I do this for you?" And I was like, "What is this?" Coming with such an open heart and just willing to work. And so we got to talking, and I found out that he was a classical music conductor. He's from Trinidad, and you know, he's like me. He's a Trini Jamaican. So I was like, "What's happening?" So as he started telling me his story, and I thought, you know, and this is my ignorance, I didn't know that we listened to classical music. I didn't know that that was our vibe, you know? So he schooled me on classical music. And so then I did a documentary for the CBC called Disruptor Conductor, where he goes out and he does classical music concerts in prisons. He does it in schools. He does it for people who are on the spectrum. And he did the first orchestral drag show in Halifax.
Okay.
So I was like, this brother's doing things. So as I was speaking to him, he's a Christian, and he started to talk about, you know, how challenging it is that we who come from the church community and love the church are being excluded and suicidal because we're being rejected from the very communities that we turn to for love, which is the church. And so I decided to look into that further. And as I started doing with one, I started talking to people and investigating it. And I thought, for those who are queer and Christian, including myself, as I had started to come out in my 20s, I wasn't a huge part of the Christian community, but church is big in our community. It just is, you know, it's a part, it's not just something you go to on Sundays. It's like, it's your community. And so when I started interviewing people, especially in rural Jamaica, that little church in that community is not just where you go on Sundays. It's where you go to meet folks. It's where you go to get a job. It's where you go for counsel. It's where you go if you need a little susu money. It's everything. It's the bank. It's everything. And so I needed people to understand that relationship, that when you say no because somebody loves somebody else, you are literally putting them on the road to suicide and alienation. And how is that Christian? How can that be love?
It's backwards.
Yeah, you can't feel love in your heart and do that. And so Maurice Tomlinson, who's sort of the anchor of the film, his parents are Christian and they're beautiful and they're featured in the film. And I could see the pain in their eyes in being part of the church, deacon, everything involved in the church, but still being asked to shun their son. I could see that this was causing pain. And this may sound simplistic, but God is love. So if God is love, when God, in the name of God, is causing pain and alienation, something's wrong. Something's wrong. That can't be right. No matter what you believe, that can't be right. On a spiritual gut level, you can't tell me you believe in God and at the same time think somebody should be pushed out in the street to die. You can't. You can't feel God and feel that at the same time. So that was what I wanted to do with this film. It's not an investigative documentary. I don't take scripture and say, see, this scripture is silly and this scripture is homophobic, but this one, no. All I ask when you watch this documentary and you see those smiling faces and you see those people telling their stories, can you love them or not? And if you can love them, then I think you're with God. And if you can't love them, I think you need to find a new God. Because that God doesn't sound like the God that I know, that when I was singing up in church and felt, you know, the love of God. So that is why I did the film.
Wow. Wow. How long did it take to film? Was it easy getting people to work on the film, et cetera, et cetera?
The hardest part of the film was when we went to Jamaica because, you know, I'll be honest, I have never really, because I'm married to a man, I present like I'm straight. So I've never really had to deal with the homophobia that a lot of people have had to deal with. And so when I went to Jamaica to work on this, I have family in Jamaica that I know would not be okay with this. That was hard for me personally. What was really, really hard was when those people marched on the streets in Montego Bay for the first Pride March. That's bravery. When we're talking about bravery, that's bravery. Because there were more guns pointed at them from the police than there were marchers. And for them to march in public and say, listen, please, please just let me be who I am. Let me just love who I love. I'm not hurting anybody. I'm not a murderer. I'm not a pedophile. I'm not a thief. I just love who I love. Come on, guys. That's bravery, right?
Yeah.
That takes courage. Yeah, yeah. And that takes a belief in God. That takes a belief that, you know, if you have to march with guns pointed at you, that takes some faith.
100%.
Yeah, yeah. So it took me a year and a half to film, go around to Jamaica, New York, London, all of those places to film. And then COVID, of course, hit. So, you know, so we were editing the film during COVID, and the editor was one place and I was one place. And, you know, the producer, Byron Wong, he was one place. So it took us a little longer. But I am proud of all the work that I've done. But this film holds a special place in my heart because it was hard to do. Those people risked their lives telling the story to me and put their trust in me. So I put my trust in the people who are watching the film that they will receive it with love and send them love.
And I'm so curious, the thought process when you're going through this journey, do you start with, because you have that question that you just asked, like, can you hear this person's story and still love them? Is there typically an underlying question that you're starting this project with, or do you kind of just let it roll and wherever it takes you? Was there something that surprised you that came out of the journey?
That's such a great question, because when it's a documentary, different from when you're doing a scripted film because there's a script. With a documentary, I was like, let me look at conversion therapy. Like those people who convert. So, you know, put hands on us and pray the devil out, that kind of stuff. I wanted to look at conversion therapy. But as the documentary went along, I realized that the essential question for everybody that I was interviewing was, can I be queer and Christian at the same time? So that's the essential question that's being asked in the documentary. And sadly, some have answered no, because they have not found that community or found that love or that acceptance. And I think about what Christian values are, which is love and kindness and acceptance and compassion. And I think, really, you would turn your most ardent lovers of God and Jesus away because they love somebody? Not that they murdered somebody, they love somebody. Right? So no matter how your own kind of things around queerness and whatever, but if you're a Christian, can you be against love? I don't know. Like if
you always hear the term God is love.
God is love. And also God, you all feel it, I'm sure, inside when you're feeling God and the love. And, you know, you talked about that picnic with family and friends.
Yeah.
Dr. Vibe, I got God there. I was like, the way he's talking about that is love and that connection with family and friends. And then you went over and you chatted to the guy from, you know, the Master Chef. That's love. Yes. Wouldn't you want that for your own kids and for anybody in the doc to feel that, to go there, to be able to share food and eat food and feel love? Yeah.
You mentioned the moment where they were having that the parade or protest in Montego Bay. Is there another one or two moments during the journey that will always resonate with you?
Yeah, there's Serena Poon and her wife. They have a little boy. And we were walking in San Francisco and the ocean was crashing and the sunlight was behind them. And they were holding their little boy, you know, and they were like swinging him. And then they were running with him. And I thought, how is this any different than when I, with my husband, are holding my little boy and running. How is this any different? They love each other. The boy was laughing and the sun was shining. And then they started talking about, God and faith and growing up in the church and how much, Jesus had meant to them. And I was like, how is this any different? It was so beautiful, their love.
Right.
I was like, how could anybody watch this and not think God is present here? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that really, really stuck out for me. So yeah, there's so many, to be honest, there's so many moments. Yeah.
I want you to take some time to big up the people who worked with you to make this a dream a reality.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Justin Lovell, who was the cinematographer, he came down to Jamaica with me. I will tell you this. Justin is Guyanese and Canadian. And we were down there, we were shooting, and it was, because the clubs and stuff like that, they have to go at night in a dark corner so that they don't get shot or killed. And so we were in this club and we were filming. And of course, we can't film any faces because they will, they'll end up getting killed. So we were filming in there. And I went out to talk to somebody. I was out there talking to them, and Justin comes running out, and he's like, I don't understand patois. They're speaking patois, and I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on there. He's like, you have to come back. You have to come back, Sharon. You have to come back. So I went back in, and they didn't know him, and because he couldn't really speak patois or whatever, they were like, who's this guy? So then, I was kind of doing my thing and like, trying to vibe them together. And in the end, it was fine. We were all good. But it made me laugh because there was no danger there. It was just, what it's man do, what a camera went.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. And you need that kind of, translation. So I big up to him and Byron Wong, who's the producer as well, who went on this journey with me. And I'll be straight up, guys. Law and Order, Power, they all pay some nice money. Documentaries do not pay big money. So none of us made any money on this documentary. We put in our time and our effort and our love because we care about everybody who is in this documentary, and we care about this message. So big up to Byron Wong, and big up to Justin, and big up to Real World, who acknowledged it. Big up to you guys who are taking the time to take in this documentary, who, it may not be something you normally would see or normally would talk about. All of that is love. All of that is love. And Reverend G-Day and Reverend Winnie, all who are in the documentary. D. Lowe, who's a Sri Lankan American trans man. D. Lowe will make you laugh. I dare you to watch this doc and not laugh. He's a stand-up comedian, and you're like, oh, it's going to be a really heavy doc and whatever. So I went to D. Lowe and I was like, it is heavy, but can you show that, we're everything. We're funny, we survive or whatever. Dare you to watch D. Lowe and not laugh. D. Lowe will make you laugh.
Yes. Where were you when you saw the finished product, and what was your reaction? The first time you saw the finished product, where were you and what was your reaction?
Yeah, that's a great question. So when I watched it all the way through, I watched it with the participants. So Lady Phil and Reverend G-Day, and but we had to do it online because of COVID. And
sure.
They had so much gratitude that I took the time to tell their story. That was huge. They had so much.
So it's okay for you to cry, Sharon. Don't worry.
Yeah. Oh, I can't stop it. So
that's okay. No, it's okay.
Yeah, they really did, and it was. Anyway, it was worth all the struggles that we went through to make that film because, you have to understand, Reverend G-Day, who's from Nigeria, at the same time he was coming out and trying to create a church in Nigeria for queer Nigerians, his dad was putting legislation in place to take down the church and to make it a crime to be queer against his son. So the two, imagine your father wanting to put you in prison because of who you love. And they're both men of God.
Right.
It was deep. So to watch him, it's hard. They told their stories. They could just go off and do their life, right? And they're not willing to do that. They don't want to leave those behind.
So I'm so curious, what's the journey of a documentary? So it's finished now. What is the path? Where do you want to take it? So what do you do with the film now?
So it got into the Trinidad and Tobago Film Festival. So we're going to Trinidad, and it'll continue making those film festival runs. And it's sold to CBC, which I'm so happy. So it's on CBC Gem, and we have a UK distributor and we have a US distributor. So hopefully it will just, it'll get on Hulu or Amazon. And really, the whole point of that for us is people to have access. And so we also are, although I'm sure I should never be saying this, but we are also finding ways to provide it for free to communities that need it, that need to see it. Churches that want to see it and communities. That's our goal, that myself and Byron are committed to making sure that those who want to see this doc will get to see this doc.
Wow. And so you mentioned Real World, and I'm a big fan of Tanya Williams and her team, Allison. So what more because they're part of this Black entrepreneurship ecosystem here in Canada.
Yes.
Us with ACBN is part of it. What more could this ecosystem that's supposed to be supporting Black entrepreneurs do for you? Like what would we be able to do to really support your efforts?
I feel like we are doing everything we can. Honestly, I feel like as a community, we're rocking it. And I don't want to hear any different. We're doing the best we can with all the constraints that are put upon us. We are doing the best that we can. Really. I believe that. And I believe that we need to hear that message, because we hear all the time that we're not doing enough and that we're not enough. And, we should do more and blah, blah. Let me tell you, what we have to go through to get to where we are, we're doing more than our share. So the question is, what are those white people going to do for us? What are they going to do?
Yeah, we're willing to ask.
We can. Yes. Yeah. And I think our role is to just keep bigging ourselves up. Because I'll tell you this, homophobia comes from colonialism. If you go back to Africa and you go back to and really study pre-Christianity, though that kind of hatred did not exist. So that has been put upon us through Christianity. And I'm not dogging Christianity, obviously, but I'm saying, look to see, Christianity was used to justify apartheid in South Africa. Look to see what Christianity is being used to justify, and feel in your heart whether or not that feels like hate or that feels like love, and choose love. Just choose love.
What would the Sharon of today say to the younger Sharon?
You got this. You got this. And you're not alone. You're not alone, because oftentimes we feel like we're doing this by ourselves, right? Which is partly why you guys have this platform. So we don't feel like we're doing it by ourselves. But you got this.
What keeps thesharonlewis.com going?
Oh my gosh, this community, my son, my husband, my community. Yeah, and my God. Because my God, I got a couple of them. Because, I bring them out. One's like a Wakanda type when I need to
Yes.
Wakanda forever. Sometimes I need that Wakanda God, and the other one is sort of like a little Shakti loving kind of thing. But my gods, I would say, keep me going. That connection.
For the generation behind us, what words do you have for them?
We're enough. We are enough. That is so important, because I think we hear the message all the time. We're not trying enough. We're failing. But Black excellence is there. It just doesn't get shown in the media as much as our struggles get shown. There's a lot more views. There's a lot more clicks and likes if you're showing our struggles. And not that that's not important, but remember, we're enough. Like, we're doing it. We are doing it. Things are changing because of us.
100%.
Yeah.
Do you have a fan club yet?
Oh, we starting it? Hey, president, vice president.
I'm telling you.
Oh, you
I'm
guys are
telling
doing
you.
great.
We need to start every day with some Lewis vibe.
I love it.
Oh my goodness. Anything else you'd like to share with us before? I know you always have things to do because. Actually, what do you do for relaxation? Just came to my mind. What do you do to relax, or do you relax?
I'm not good at the relaxation.
Oh no!
I'll be straight up. I'm not good at the relaxation. Not good. I mean, I watch movies, but even when I'm watching movies, I drive my son and my partner crazy because I'm like, I wonder why they did that shot. Is that CGI? They blah blah blah. And they're like, "Lord, can we just watch the movie? Can we just watch?
Just let me enjoy Black Panther in peace."
That's exactly it. We were watching Top Gun yesterday, and because we have our Sunday night family movie, so we were watching the original Top Gun, so my son could see it.
Wow.
All through the movie, I'm like, I wonder, did they do that live? Was that CGI? Also, where are all the women? How come the women don't do that? Where are the black people? There was one black person. How come there's only one black person in it? I analyze the entire film. Literally, I think they're just like this eating popcorn. So relaxation is something I need to learn.
Oh, I love it.
Well, yeah. Every time I communicate with you going forward, I'm going to ask, have you taken a break?
Truth. Yeah, truth. Yeah.
Do you have any go-to movies or go-to actors or actresses?
There's so many. Aren't we so lucky now? Because coming up, there was the one black show that we all watched together. Do you know what I mean? On TV. And now there's so many. Right now, I don't know. Have you guys seen Black Mafia Family?
No.
Oh, it's
Which platform is that on?
It's in the Power Universe on Stars. It's not getting the props that it should get. I love P-Valley. P-Valley is a very edgy series. Godfather of Harlem with Forrest Whitaker.
Yes, I've seen episodes of that.
So good.
Would you love to direct him?
Oh, yes. Let's put that out to the universe. Oh, yes. Could you imagine Mr. Forrest Whitaker? Beautiful talent. Yeah. So much. What's so great is there's so much out there. Like I didn't have that when I was coming up. But there's so much out there, and I try to support it as much as possible. And there's a Canadian film coming out from Clement Burgo called Brother that is going to be at TIFF. So if you can go out to support Clement as well, because he's doing his thing still.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Ryan, any final thoughts before we let
I don't want
wonderful
to end,
person?
Yeah, I don't want to end on a low note, but you mentioned something earlier where once you're woke, you can't be unwoke. And I'm curious your thoughts on this kind of current woke culture where it's kind of being used to give props to capital or corporations and not really doing the work to empower the Black community. So I just wanted to get your perspective on when people do say that they want to support the Black community, but nobody's really holding them accountable. What could we do better as people say they're woke?
Yeah, I think, a long time ago when I was at the University of Toronto, I was the executive director of the Women's Center there. And we spent so much time trying to get money from the university to fund the Women's Center. And at that time, there was a lot of identity. I mean, there still is identity politics going on. So there was the Black Women's Collective, the Queer Collective, blah, blah, blah. And I spent a lot of energy going to the engineering folks and trying to get them woke and whatever. I think that is valuable, trying to change the institutions that already exist. At this stage in my career, I do that as much as I can. So, if I'm on Law and Order, I try to, I cast a Black woman in the lead. That's what I did. I make those changes as I can. But where I put all of my energy is creating new institutions or supporting institutions that are already woke. That's me. So I think we have to make that choice for ourselves. In my 20s, I had a lot of anger and a lot of energy to be tearing down the institutions and making them more woke. Right now, I need to be building institutions and supporting institutions that are already there. So I think we make those choices, and both are valid. You just have to figure out where your energies are best spent. And they're both.
If we can support you in the building of those institutions, please let us know how.
Yes,
where to be,
absolutely.
Yes,
absolutely.
You guys are.
Well,
Just by having With Wonder on this platform and being open to that. Honestly, you guys are. And also, you're already doing it. So, as well, like, first of all, I got to get my car dry cleaned. That's
Hey,
so we got to figure that out.
Consider it done.
And you know, anytime you want to come on this platform, you have a home here. Whether you want to talk about film, anything, would love to have you on.
100%.
Now, interesting question coming from the audience, and just going to put it up here. Tim asks, if I can get Tim's thing up here, do you post a list of Black shows to watch on your site?
That's such an excellent question. That's such a great idea. It's funny because no, I don't do that, but I should do that. Yeah, absolutely. All those shows that I just did. Yeah. No, it's a good idea. What I'm watching and what I think you guys can be watching and who you can be supporting, you know, especially with TIFF coming up, maybe a list of the movies that, you know, are supporting our Black community.
And, you know, and such a good segue. There's the website.
Yeah.
The website.
You can
right
start
there.
my movie, Brown Girl Begin.
Well, it's interesting. Just a little time with Tiff Clement, and I've seen him there before, but why am I forgetting? Cameron.
Yes.
Well, Cameron's father has passed away now, but Cameron's father and my father knew each other for 30 years.
Oh, you're kidding.
Whoa.
So it's a very interesting story because many years ago I had the opportunity, I wanted to interview him. And this is I was at an event long time ago where he was receiving an award, and I came up to say, "Hey, how you doing?" Fine. He says, "Oh, how's your father's insurance business?" And he looked at me, "What the heck? How do you know? Like, are you some sort of stalker or something?" So then I made the relationship that, you know, his dad knew my dad, such an interview him, and that got me the opportunity to do some stuff at TIFF. But Cameron, incredible human being. Incredible human being. Like, you know, and I think a lot of Black Kings don't realize it. He's the man at TIFF. He's the Black man. And this ain't just yesterday, been for years.
Yes.
Absolutely incredible.
Yes.
So much
That's
props.
We're doing it. We are doing it.
Yes.
I think that we just have to blow our own horn more.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. You know, and decide which lane we're going to look at. Is it what we're doing, or is it what we're not doing?
True.
Any final words for our family today, Ms. Lewis?
Well, first I want to say thank you, really. I was like, an hour? What are we going to talk about for an hour?
We'll talk about Law and Order for an hour.
Yeah, I was like, well, we can just keep going on and on and on. But by
the way, I do love the color representation on organized crime.
Yes, agreed. Yes. Because they're on both sides, right? They're criminals and they're cops, which is great. Yes. I agree. Yeah.
And big ups. I don't know, I haven't watched recently. Dylan McDermott. He is a good actor. Oh my goodness.
He was killing it in that second season, second season, right? Yeah.
Serious, but
you know who my favorite is though? Danielle she's Chris Maloney's right hand, right?
Yes.
She's actually the captain, but she's awesome.
Yeah, she's really good. She's really good too.
And a lovely person. And she's doing a one-woman show in Sacramento because she also is trying to keep her own artistry going. So this is what I'll say, because I gotta run. But one love. That's what I'm gonna say. Just one love. Just keep, if we could keep that, if I can remember that one love. Because that to me lifts me up. Because this is one love right here. You know?
Well, we appreciate you.
We appreciate you so much. I'm gonna ask Sasha to get your contact information because I'd love to get more knowledge, and just your energy is so wonderful.
All right, Dr. Vibe.
It's so wonderful. You know, your end is so wonderful. So if people want to find out more about Sharon, website is there. You want to find more information about the film with Wonder Film, it's there. Thank you for an outstanding conversation.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
And I'm speaking it that we're going to hear and be in communication more. And again, anything we can potentially do for you, please don't be afraid to reach out.
I appreciate.
All right. Have a fantastic day.
All
Remember
right.
remember to give yourself grace, and don't just manage your time, manage your energy.
Yes. Wisdom.
All right. Take
Bye,
care.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Wow.
Woo. You had like a celebrity on, man. Holy moly.
Wow.
That was amazing.
Wow. Wow.
We are doing it. That I'm gonna carry with me. You know,
wow.
We just have to spotlight those doing it.
That was out of bounds. That was out of bounds. Just want to say greetings to Dr. Tachi. And Dr. Tachi, you miss it. And Dr. Tachi is a documentary producer. She's based in Florida. She does a lot of online stuff. Dr. Tachi, I'm going to encourage you to watch the replay of this because it is so up your alley. It is so inspiring. Yes. Absolutely fantastic. Also want to say good morning, Macmillan Group, another great show. Continued success to all. Yeah, this was amazing. Really, I did not know about all the backstory stuff.
Right. Yes.
That was just absolutely phenomenal. Got some more comments coming in here. Yeah, good. What's up for the rest of the week, Ryan?
You know, this week has started off with the right vibe. It's got, even though it's summer, there's so much to do. We're gonna be, oh man, August is around the corner when we're gonna start planning the conference again. The study groups is happening Tuesday evenings.
Another conference?
The ecosystem entrepreneurship conference. We have to start. We want to get ahead of it. The second one, yes. So yeah, man.
When's that scheduled for?
It'll be June again,
next year.
2023.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought, is he doing another one this year? Oh my!
Right. Just getting as far ahead of it as possible. But yeah, how's your week shaping up?
Well, a lot on the go. Actually, I have the chance to get a 30-minute mentorship call from a CEO today.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm looking for that. And for those of you who don't know my philosophy, I'm going to ask if we can do. I always make my asks. I got my 3 asks, but my big ask was asked to get him to do, if we can do it once a month, get a 30-minute mentorship call from a CEO who actually coaches CEOs.
Okay.
He coaches CEOs. His company, that's what they do. They coach and mentor CEOs. So I'm going to get 30 minutes of his time and follow up with me on Friday to see if I get that ask. But if I don't get that, I'm going to ask, hey, can we do it every 2 months? And he says, no. I say, hey, can I at least contact you regularly by email? I'm not leaving that conversation with nothing.
100%. I love that.
So that's happening tomorrow. I have two pre-recorded conversations for the Dad Central show, which is sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care and Dad Central, Canada's national fatherhood organization. And it's interesting these days. And I also have a mentoring session tomorrow from 9 to 11. So tomorrow is packed. And I don't know if it's happening purposely, but the beginning of my week should be heavy and the end should be light, or vice versa. So the beginning of this week is pretty heavy, but looking forward to that and have some follow-up conversations with some entrepreneurs.
Wonderful. Hey man, keep pushing. Love it.
Yeah, I got to keep pushing. And for people who want to watch replays of this epic conversation, you go to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and Facebook, Afro-Canadian Business Network, Facebook and YouTube, and Ryan Oneil Knight on YouTube. I had a conversation today, like, wow. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
As Dr. Tachi said, how awesome, one love. So we want to make sure you have a good rest of the week. And as always, we end off our conversations with this. Oh, actually, Friday. get you ready for Friday. Ray McMillan, our sponsor for today's show, is going to be on, and we're going to talk about the current housing market. Now, remember, Ray has done. Go ahead, Ryan.
No, 100 basis points. So
yes,
2.25% interest rates have gone up. We got to chat about
Canada.
that.
Yes. So again, Ray has experience. He has been a licensed mortgage broker in Canada and the United States since 1999. So if you have any questions about housing, whether buy, sell, rent, please tell yourself, tell anyone you know, Friday is going to be fire in regards to the housing market and the economy in general. Ray has so much evaluated experience in all different areas, like getting your credit right, buying a home, selling a home, renovating a home. Ray is, and of course, and he also is a real estate investor. Yes. So all those things for Friday. So looking
international real estate investor.
International. There you go. International. Let's brand the man properly. International real estate investor. So as always, we close out. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get smaller, get stronger. Block assumptions. Then aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Remember to give yourselves grace, and don't just manage your time, manage your energy. And as we always say, a tree without roots is just a piece of wood.
Yes.
All right, family. We'll see you on Friday. Thank you. And hey, I'd watch the replay of this. I'm not saying, I'm just saying. Peace, everybody. God bless.